Have you ever wondered how to Bulgarian split squat and using specific cues on the single leg variation to bias either more of the anterior or posterior side of our body, and how using this single leg variation, again with specific cues, can help us to open up motion at the hip, knee, and ankle? Stay tuned because that's exactly what I'm going to be going over today. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Eric. I'm a strength coach, and today we're going to be going over the Bulgarian split squat and how implementing certain cues is going to help us with improving strength and improving range of motion at the hip, knee, and ankle joint. But before we put this into practice, I just want to go over some key aspects using these two drawings to help us to get a little bit of a sense and idea before we visualize it. So I'm not an artist, as you guys can tell by any means. So just to go over it real quick, on this side, we have an individual doing a barbell back squat. As you can see, that the line of action, so to speak, is going right down the center, right? The weight is going right down the center mass of the individual. We are using a double leg base of support. And you can see that the moment arm of the knee here, and we have a hip moment arm, right? And we can see that there's a perpendicular distance between the line of action and where the weight is centered over our body. You can see that the hip is going through has a greater moment arm compared to the knee here. This is typically what we refer to as a low bar back squat, usually where the bar sits more on our lower trapezius and our rear deltoids. This is going to allow for more a greater amount of torque at the hip joint rather than the knee joint. If you want to think about it this way, there's going to be a greater force going through the hip than the knee here. Therefore, we'll be biasing those muscle groups a little bit more because we have more forward lean. If we go over to my horrible picture of a foot here, what I'm trying to demonstrate is a tripod foot, right? So a lot of times what we end up doing is we have either pronation or supination at the ankle joint. Supination, think about like a cup of soup. Your foot is going here and it's bending laterally, and it opens up that heel. However, if we go into pronation, our foot's going in our medial malleolus, that big sort of almost like spherical shaped bone, almost like on the inside, goes closer towards the ground. That's what we call overpronation. Now, if we look at it, we have three main points of contact. We have the first metatarsal, right? We have our first or our big toe. That's where we want to apply pressure. To our lateral, all the way on the lateral side by our pinky toe, we want to apply pressure. And then at the heel or the calcaneus, we want to apply pressure there. This is what we call the tripod foot. Now, the reason why this is important is so when we go and if we go and we try and perform an exercise on one leg, right? We don't want too much overpronation and we don't want too much over supination or just supination, because we want to have all these three checkpoints, so to speak, on the ground. We want to be able to, I guess you could say, root our feet into the ground so we have more force transfer. Now, oftentimes you see that people are be applying more weight onto the lateral aspect of the foot, thinking, okay, maybe I will have potentially less knee valgus, right? Valgus is just our knee coming inwards. However, the only problem here is if we want to gain motion at the hip, knee, and ankle, we need to strengthen that medial arch. So we're going to be applying more pronation at that big toe so that we go into more of that tripod foot. And the tripod foot is not easy to first go into. So I suggest if you're going to be performing any kind of movements that you try to do without weight first, just so you get the idea of how it feels. But going into that tripod foot, that's going to help to pronate the knee more into that neutral, I guess you could say more of a neutral base. That's going to help with force transfer. And then if we go and take our hip, a lot of times we want to externally rotate it because we always think if we're sitting at a desk, right, we're too internally rotated. However, what we want to do is we want to internally rotate the hip so we open up space at the pelvis for us to go into more flexion and to increase dorsiflexion at the ankle joint. Now, to put this, what I'm going to be doing now in the next clip is putting this all into practice, so stay tuned. So now to Bulgarian split squat. So how do we do it? So what we can do, we can grab a bench, sit at the edge of the bench. We're gonna extend the knee, that's gonna be our standing leg. We're gonna stand up. We're gonna use the tripod foot, try to root our feet into the ground. Use that back leg, put it up onto the bench. Now this turns into a single leg base of support. Now with the dumbbell, it's gonna be on the side, which is the support leg is on the bench. We're gonna squat down. We're gonna pick up that dumbbell, and we're gonna be performing this for reps. Now, if you want to bias more of the quadriceps, what we can do is we can slide that stance leg just a little bit closer, so we can go back to this movement and we can emphasize more of the knees over the toes. If you realize that you might be lacking a little bit of dorsiflexion or the ability to translate further over that toe, and our heel comes up, what we're trying to bias here is a little bit more hip internal rotation, so that will open up space for the ankle to dorsiflex further. If we want to go more hamstrings and glutes, we're going to slide the that stance leg up a little bit, so that when we go forward, we're here, and our knee isn't traveling so far over our toe. So that is 2 ways that we can perform the Bulgarian split squat. And thanks for watching that little tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. I'm trying my best to learn everything that I can on here, trying to become a better coach, a better athlete, and a better student. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did making it. Like I said, please like, comment, share, subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you guys would like. And here's to getting strong. Thanks for watching.